and find our lowest car insurance price online, guaranteed.
Rain will persist in eastern coastal counties for a time tonight, with drier conditions expected elsewhere. Lows of 4 to 7 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
And you're very welcome along to Monday night's Off the Ball. It's Richie McCormack here with you right through until 10 o'clock tonight. An exceptionally busy show on the way. I hope wherever you happen to be listening to us this evening, you're getting out of that rain, because it is nasty out there. On the way, we'll reflect on what has been a huge weekend for Irish sport, with Katie Taylor crowned a two-weight world champion. We'll get the reaction of Andy Lee to that one a little bit later on in the show. Andy also joins us for the Newsround tonight. We'll have two members of the victorious Irish women's hockey side in studio here with us as well this evening, following last night's dramatic penalty shootout win over Canada that sealed qualification for Tokyo 2020. We'll look back on the Rugby World Cup final of 2019 with the Springboks prevailing over England. We'll get the local South African view and a whole lot more besides on Monday Night Rugby. That's coming up after 8 o'clock. And on the football show too, Pat Nevin will join us on what was a terrible weekend for VAR, an even worse weekend for poor Andrea Gomez. And we'll get the reaction from both camps after yesterday's equally dramatic, a lot of that word knocking around this weekend, FAI Cup final, which Shamrock Rovers came out the better of following a penalty shootout victory of their own. As I mentioned, the former middleweight champion of the world, Andy Lee, joins us in studio. Thank you for coming in, Andy. And Ben Finnegan's here for the Newsround too. Andy, you were in Manchester on Saturday.
Yeah,
It was a fantastic night for Katie Taylor. We'll touch on this later. There seems to be a sea change in terms of what's following her, because the crowd was noticeably more female, noticeably younger. But Katie herself coming out the better side of a brilliant fight from her behalf against Christina Linardatu. Afterwards, how did she seem? I know you were in the dressing room speaking to her afterwards, and what was her kind of demeanour?
As nice and, how can I say, deflecting as possible, uncomfortable with taking any praise, and just how she, and more interested in me and my wife and child than talking about boxing or anything like that. But she's an ambassador, and like you hinted there, we'll talk about it later on, but she's taken female boxing to a whole new level now, and it was a special moment. It was like a change of the winds, I suppose, for want of a better word, in Manchester after that win.
I've noticed it more and more over the last 3-4 fights maybe, that she seems more comfortable in the build-up to a fight and talking about her opponents and saying, like, basically accepting the barbs that they perhaps have to throw at them, and she'll come back with something not as pointed, but she'll be confident enough in herself to say that she can get through this fight. It's interesting to hear that after the fight, as soon as everything's done and dusted, that she's back to that demure, not taking any praise kind of thing.
Yeah, and look, her opponent was levelling some things at her after the fight, because there was after the post-fight press conference, Katie had done hers, and then Linardatu would come in, and they're both sitting at the table for the same time. And Linardatu started to intimate that she thought she won the fight, and just straight away Katie just got up off the table and walked away. Because she didn't engage with it at all.
Katie Taylor is fake. She's not real. She's protected, was what Linardatu is pretty much saying.
Totally unfounded, and just it doesn't add up, and her attitude stunk. Even in the fight, you could see that she probably had it in her head going into the fight that they were going to try to con her, but she'd lost the fight. She lost the fight clearly. She wasn't even within a shout of getting the decision.
This goes back to even when the fight was announced. I remember her management were talking about rematch clauses and all that kind of thing. It's like, you shouldn't be thinking about a rematch if you're confident enough in your fighter's abilities.
Exactly. And look, she should be very grateful to Katie Taylor. Who knew who Christina Linardatu was before this fight? And she's made a significantly career high purse, her biggest purse of her life, just from matching Katie. And she will go on and have bigger fights now just because she's been in the ring with Katie.
You can understand, I guess, from a business perspective, why she was saying what she was saying after the fight.
Yeah,
she's watched the pursuing reaction and thought,
exactly.
I can get some of that rematch action.
Yeah, or a fight with somebody else, and now they'll know me and I'll be controversial, and that's probably it. It's probably the where that's founded in.
There's not some boxers who go in with that attitude anyway.
Like, you watch the fight, she was complaining at every turn, whether they were holding, whether their heads came together, whether she felt like she was just, as I said, her attitude, she felt like this was probably preordained, that Katie was going to win. Like, in her mind, but that was never the case. If she would have won, she would have got the decision, because the judges actually gave her some of the rounds, and you could make an eye when she didn't win any of the rounds.
Where next for Katie? She has the ability, it would seem, now that she's moved up a weight class, to hoover up all the belts in that division. She could go on and on. She's got several fights that she can, I suppose, pick and choose from.
Yeah, well, one of the other champions in that division is Jessica McCaskill, who had a very good fight with Katie before.
Was that the one, the York Hall?
That was one of the York Hall, yeah. And it was a close fight, but Katie stood and fought. But Katie seems to have turned the corner now in terms of handling the occasion and not being drawn into a slugfest, with anybody. And because when she's boxing, when she's on her toes, circling the ring and feinting and counterpunching, there's nobody who can touch her.
As you mentioned, now she's a draw. Like she's possibly, Eddie Hearn spoke about it afterwards, she's possibly going to headline an all-female card, which would be a momentous
thing for boxing. Look at the roster match in boxing. There's Anthony Joshua. Who else is there outside of that in terms of a household name? Katie Taylor. I don't think there's too many. Like years ago, you had Tony Bellew, you had David Hay, you had Carl Froch, you had all these big names. There seems to be there's a void now, and Katie's definitely filling it. And
it's brilliant for her because she can go on and not only cement her legacy, but she can be spoken of not only in terms of women's boxing, but boxing. And I think that's the goal, is to be spoken of in terms of.
That's what's happening now. That the gender is becoming, it's irrelevant. It's just people are appreciating her for what she's doing in the ring and how she boxes.
It strikes me, given the news today, given the passing of Gabe Byrne, that the iconic broadcaster, she would have been one of the ideal characters for him to kind of interview. I can see that interview in my head, the fatherly Uncle Gay kind of coming to the fore and being all protective almost in the Sinead O'Connor manner, and her being part of that too.
Yeah, she is getting better with her interviews and more comfortable in terms of in talking and be open in front of the media. So
there's a second and third sentence there where there wasn't before. I've noticed that about her in terms of interviews.
And and I think part of it, she probably knows she has to do it.
Yeah.
But I think it's coming more natural to her. Yeah.
Yeah. We if we weren't given necessarily heart attacks by Katie's performance on Saturday, we certainly were by the women's hockey team. Last night in Donnybrook, we're going to be joined by Nikki Daly and Katie Mullen from the sides after 7:30 to reflect on their Olympic qualification. Ben, one of those moments whereby I think Mary Hannigan in the Times today was speaking about the idea of a ticket tout being outside Energy Park. The ticket touts for hockey became something, and that we were witnessing an occasion last night.
Well, I remember last August when Ireland got to a World Cup final in the hockey, trawling through Prague to try and find a pub to watch a game that I'd never seen before. And it was kind of like the same the other night in Donnybrook, and it probably will be the same for the Olympics, because it's kind of one of those sports that you can kind of dip in and out of. You don't really need to have a total grasp of what's going on. Just try and keep up.
You feel you kind of know, but there's goals. They're on a pitch. The sticks. You can kind of relate that to hurling a little bit, and you know where you're going with it. You know the general lay of the land.
Everyone was experts. Everyone in the country, like that silver medal match. I was in Glynn, County Limerick at a wedding, and we were all watching. Everyone knew, she should have done this. And like
the worst element I've ever seen of that would have been in London 2012 when Annalise Murphy was in the final of her particular sailing race, and missed out on a medal, I think, at that stage. But there were people online, on Twitter especially, criticising how she was taking corners and racing. And you're going, mate, you've probably never been to the beach, never mind gotten in a boat. So I don't think you're in a... But there you go, such is the nature of social media. 53106, if you want to get in contact this evening, you can tweet us as well at Off the Ball. We'll touch on in the football show Pat Nevin a little bit later on, the dreadful injury suffered by Andre Gomez. I know you were watching this one as well yesterday, Andy.
I was flicking back and forth between the two matches, the FAI Cup final, and I know it's a horrific injury, but just as a bit of drama on it, and human, kind of the most purest human reaction, and it was like you could have took a still of once that tackle happens and then the reactions after it, you could have took a still of the screen. It could have been like a Caravaggio painting, because first the crowd reaction, then Seamus Coleman runs over, he's screaming at the physio to get over here now, and then you see Son's reaction and the managers, and you feel as much for Son as you did for Gomez in there, and I'm sure that red card will be overturned.
Yeah, you figure we'll speak about this with Pat Nevin a little bit later on. Like, the challenge wasn't yellow card worthy. Apparently,
he was clumsy. He went in very quick.
He went in very quick, but I don't think
it wasn't. It's not the. It's actually probably not the effects of the challenge that resulted in. It might sound bad, but it was a nothing tackle. It was like a professional foul, wasn't it, to stop him advancing on the counter, and then what led to it, whether it was the pitch or whether it was the contact with Sergio Aguirre that led to...
Well, it could be kind of... You could argue that with the way that Son had gone into the tackle and the momentum that he had taken, that he didn't really care whether he was getting player or ball.
It was. But the fact of the matter is Martin Atkinson went to take out a yellow card and looked at what had transpired in terms of the injury, and then changed that from a yellow to a red. And the Premier League have backed that up. It's something that I think is a dangerous alley for referees to go down, whereby they look at the results of a tackle rather than the intention of the tackle in the first place. The intention of the tackle was silly, but I don't think it was with the intention of crippling poor Andre Gomez.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah, strange. Seamus Coleman, obviously, as we mentioned, he was a victim of a similar injury, such as the way things worked out. He was on the pitch yesterday. He won't be on the pitch for the vital Euro 2020 qualifier with Denmark. Mick McCarthy confirming some news about his squad for that game.
Yeah, Troy Parrott will be in his final squad for the Denmark game in the Euro 2020 qualifiers. They'll be named on Thursday, and Mick has told Stephen Kenny Troy Parrott and Aaron Connolly will be in his team. The Republic of Ireland boss has got assurances from Glenn Whelan, Matt Doherty and Darren Randolph that they'll be fit for the Danes as well as the friendly against New Zealand. Whelan came off with a hamstring issue for Hearts at the weekend when they lost to Rangers in the Scottish League Cup, while Randolph has been nursing a thigh issue for 3 weeks, and Doherty was taken off after 71 minutes against Arsenal, but that was just merely precautionary. And as he said, Captain Seamus Coleman is already out, and a win at the Aviva on November 18th will book the boys in green spot at Euro 2020.
We heard after Manchester City's win at the weekend, they were put to the pin of their collar by Southampton. Pep Guardiola was asked about Liverpool's victory. He managed to throw in a little barb about diving, and Jurgen Klopp's had a bit of a pop back today, Ben.
Yeah, Jurgen Klopp stood behind Sadio Mane in the wake of Pep Guardiola's comments. The Liverpool striker was booked after going down in the box against Aston Villa at the weekend, which led to the City manager saying sometimes he dives, sometimes he scores. The Merseysiders take on City in the Premier League on Sunday and go in with a 6-point lead, and Klopp says there was contact on Mane.
Sadio's not a diver. So there was a situation in the Aston Villa game where he got a contact and went down, and maybe it was not a penalty, but there was contact. It's not like jumping over a leg and do like he hit you or whatever. Just there was contact, and all the other penalties were penalties because he was in that situation, stayed there, and I'm 100% sure if something would happen like this for Man City, they would want to have a penalty because somebody kicked the player in the box, and that's a penalty.
There you go, Jurgen Klopp. Text in 11 players in hockey, a ball and a goal. Not too difficult, lads, says Deck on 53106. Deck, we've got 2 guests coming up at 7:30 that might disagree with that ever so slightly as well. Guys, soccer with hockey rules would be unbelievable. Auto pass, no offside, rolling subs. They should trial it. It's definitely worth a go, I think, as well. Garrett has been on as well in the wake of Gable's passing, saying, guys, well worth checking out Republic of Ireland. We are the boys in green on YouTube. Lovely clip with the late Gabe Byrne. He introduces the Euro 88 squad with their official song, and there's some of them singing along with more enthusiasm than others. We did get a clip earlier on today as well. Actually, we were looking around for kind of sports ones. There's loads of great sporting moments in the late with him, either interviewing. There's one where he just interviews Jimmy McGee about the summer that's been. Like, he just sits Jimmy down. He's like, Jimmy, I think he was the first guest on. And Jimmy's just sat there and he's like, well, Jimmy, how was the summer? And it's like, Jimmy just rolls through the events of, I can't even remember what summer it was. It might have been 88 or 87. I think Stephen Roach was in around there, so it's probably 87. But it's just him and Jimmy just sitting talking about sport for a bit.
One who's sadly missed.
Exactly. It was Jimmy, well, we're on the Champs-Élysées again. And, you know, he starts regaling with stories about all that. The other one that came up, of course, was the tribute to Paul McGrath that they did, which at the time featured a very young and not too forthcoming Roy Keane.
Roy, good evening to you, and you're very welcome, sir. How are you, first of all?
Not too bad, thanks, not too bad.
So how long will it be? What's the word?
It'll be about 8 or 9 months, I'd say. 8 or 9 months.
8 or 9?
Yeah.
It's a long time.
It is a long time, yeah, but you just got to get on with it, you know.
Yeah, you're not feeling good about that, I bet.
No, not too bad, you know. As you said, you just got to get on with it.
And do you mean you can do nothing with it, right? Like,
well, after the operation, I'll be in a brace for up to 6 weeks, and then I'll be in the gym, building my leg up, so...
Yeah. Are you in pain?
No, not too bad. I'll probably be in pain in about 2 weeks' time after the operation, but at the moment, not too bad.
Yeah. Okay, what do you want to say about this guy?
Well, you know, what can you say? You know, the funny thing is I played with Paul for about... Fortunate enough, played about 30 games with Paul with the Irish team, but I never really, knew Paul because he was obviously very quiet. And fortunately, I met him on holiday 2 years ago, and got to know him and Caroline, the kids and whatever. And you know, as I said, what can I say? As the lad said, he's a great bloke and you know, a fantastic player.
Right. But he was a boyhood hero, was he?
Of course he was. You know, obviously watched the World Cup in 1990, the championships in '88, and you know, as I said, I was very fortunate to play with him. And when I was a young player, you know, he was the one player I looked up to. Yeah. And I've been fortunate to play with him and got to know him and Caroline, the kids, and it's brilliant.
Great. So you are taking care of yourself, and you're not drinking too much, and you're not doing any of those things that Paul wouldn't recommend.
No.
I see. I'm sorry about the injury, but
okay.
you'll be good.
I'll be all right.
You'll be all right. Okay. Thank you very much indeed for being here. You're very welcome. Thank you both for being here. Thank you.
Always astounding the way fully grown adults just became kids in front of Gabe Byrne. It was one of his unique traits. Roy was on Young Offenders, I believe, last night. Did you see that?
No, I heard about it.
Sporting a Cork City scarf.
Indeed. There's plenty around the St. Coleman's Park region. Be fairly unhappy about that, to say the least. Have you ever been offered any TV work, Andy?
No, I got a face for radio. That's why I'm in here.
That is right.
Never got the Game of Thrones cameo, no?
Yeah, the what?
The Game of Thrones cameo,
No, I didn't. It ended before I got the shout.
There's a spin-off, I think, coming or something like that, isn't
Yeah, House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
It goes back to the Targaryen dynasty.
Did you get the invite?
No, not yet.
Is this based on actual books, or is it?
Yeah, it's based on a fake history by some Archmeister. People who know the show will know. Fire and Blood. There's a book out called Fire and Blood. It's based off that.
You were the centre of a podcast about this very show. You should know a bit about it.
I do know.
When is that due to be out?
I think it's only gone into production now, so it could be next year.
There you go. Something to look for. It could be your big break.
Yeah.
We could sign you up for the cameo. They're always asking for people. Is it going to be filmed in Ireland?
I don't know. I'm not sure. But I wouldn't assume so because it's Targaryens. They lived in Valyria. It was kind of more of a hot.
Was all that stuff filmed in Croatia?
Maybe. I'm not sure what it'll be.
Get a free holiday out.
Yeah.
We could all chip in and fly you out there.
We'll get someone to sponsor it and then we'll do another podcast.
There could be a video cast and all
We got a nice trip to Northern Ireland out of the last one.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
If you could think big, Andy. Get us a trip to Croatia, for God's sake. We've heard from the camp belonging to Richard Keogh, I guess, today as well, Ben.
Yeah, Richard Keogh's agent says the Republic of Ireland defender is ahead of schedule with his recovery. He was sacked by Derby County last week after a drink-driving incident with teammates that left him with an injured knee. He's now without a club, and his agent, Cos Toffas, has told TalkSport it's been tough.
Richard's in a really bad way currently. It's heartbreaking. I don't think I could possibly put in words how much he's hurting and what his family are going through. It's an absolute heartbreaking moment. He's ahead of schedule, so that's the one bit of good news we've had over this last week. And 12, 13 months from now, he'll be putting his boots back on and getting back out there. And
no mention of Rovers yet. Is there a Bozeman in studio? Asks one texter. Ben, let's put this right.
Shamrock Rovers manager Stephen Bradley says yesterday's FAI Cup title success is only the start for his group of players. The Hoops ended a 32-year wait for the Cup, lifting the trophy for a record 25th time, defeating league champions Dundalk on penalties. Gary O'Neill scored the decisive spot kick in the shootout after Alan Manis had saved from Dan Cleary. It's a first trophy for Rovers since manager Stephen Bradley was appointed in 2016. He says his side showed incredible resilience to get their hands on the Cup, having conceded a late goal to send the game to extra time.
To go to the next level, to go and win leagues, and you have to win something. You have to get that winning feeling. You have to understand how to get something across the line, and we've been searching for that, and they have it. But now we have it, and I think, apart from the size of the squad, that was genuinely the only difference with us. They understood how to win in big games, and now we do. And like I said, you can't give that to people. You have to earn that, and we've earned that today.
Yeah, Stephen Bradley there. We'll hear more from the Rovers manager in tonight's football show, and also hear from Vinnie Perth as well, the head coach of Dundalk, after their defeat yesterday at the Aviva. But a great crowd there was there, which makes the occasion, I guess, as well. And congratulations to Wexford too on their victory. Hockey next, as we mentioned, we've got two members of that victorious side coming into us very, very shortly indeed, Ben.
Yeah, the Irish women's hockey team are the latest Irish athletes to book their place at the Tokyo Olympics next year. Last year's World Cup runners-up qualified for the 2020 Games with a dramatic penalty shootout victory against Canada in Donnybrook last night. Goalkeeper Aisha McFerrin was the hero, denying Canada with each of their last 3 attempts in the shootout.
Hi guys, can you ask Andy, after the fight with Katie on Saturday night, Anthony Crolla on his last pro fight was beat out the gates, says Mike and Nina. Even the commentator Adam Smith thought so, yet he got the victory. What does Andy think?
Yeah, I thought he lost the fight. And it's probably a bit remiss, probably remiss of me, because after I was doing punditry, and I just said, like, the result doesn't matter. He's lost. He's lost the fight, but like, he's been a great champion and a great ambassador and whatever. You know, paying homage to him. But I should have probably made a bit more of Frank.
Should have dubbed the boot in.
Yurkaga, who won the fight.
Yeah.
Like, it was close, but he won it by maybe 2 rounds in a 10-round fight. But it was just completely brushed over, and I was part of that too because of the occasion. So yeah, I'm not sure. You'd feel bad for the guy, but as I said there and then, hopefully he gets another chance to come back this side or in England and gets a chance to prove himself again.
Yeah. You didn't help his cause, Andy.
No, I did. I said he won the fight. He won the fight, yeah.
We will leave it there. Ben, thanks very much. Andy's going to stick around and talk a little bit more, Katie Taylor, after 8:30. But just to tell you, the Motorsport Show is happening at the RDS on November 23rd and 24th. You can see motorsportshow.com for more information. The events include the live runway, where spectators can view some of the star car attractions on display each day. There'll also be a 60 years of the Mini anniversary parade on Sunday, November 24th. And tonight we're giving you the chance to win a pair of tickets to the Motorsport Show. You'll also go in the hat for Sunday's draw for the big prize as well, which is a pair of 2-day grandstand tickets for the 2020 London E-Prix, including a VIP garage tour and a DS automobile with the DS automobile team, and gift bags for each of those guests. The prize includes flights and accommodation in a 4-star hotel close to the event, so you can be close to all the action as well. For your chance to win tonight, just answer this very simple question. Mondello Park is located in which Irish county? If you think you know, just text your name and your answer to 53106, and we will reveal tonight's daily winner at the end of the show, which goes into that for Sunday's big prize. Packed show on the way, as I mentioned, the football show after 9 with Pat Nevin, and reaction from the FAI Cup final as well. Andy's sticking around after 8:30. We'll be talking Katie Taylor's victory in Manchester over Christina Linnerdottir to become a 2-weight world champion. Monday Night Rugby, touching on South Africa's victory in the Rugby World Cup final on Saturday morning. And up next, we're going back to Donnybrook with 2 members of Ireland's victorious Irish women's hockey side.
Off the ball on Newstalk.
At Lexus, we have always anticipated the future, relentlessly pushing the boundaries of beautiful design and innovative technology, so you're ready for what's ahead. Introducing the new Lexus ES. Our executive saloon combines powerful,